I'm Elena Rodriguez, 32 years old, standing in the sterile hallway of Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, watching my daughter fight for her life through a glass window. My hands shake as I press them against the cool surface, willing strength into Maya's small body connected to machines that beep and hum with mechanical precision. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, casting everything in harsh, unforgiving clarity, the kind of light that strips away pretense and reveals what really matters. Maya is 8 years old, with dark curls that bounce when she laughs and eyes the color of warm honey that light up when she talks about her beloved guinea pig, Machi. She's always been small for her age, but fierce in spirit, the kind of kid who rescues injured birds and leaves notes for the tooth fairy asking if she's okay because flying around all night must be exhausting. 3 days ago, she was building blanket forts in our cramped Philadelphia row house. Today, she's sedated and intubated after emergency surgery to remove a brain tumor that no one saw coming. The tumor, a grade 3 anaplastic astrocytoma, the doctors called it, words that sound like a foreign language designed to deliver devastating news, was discovered after Maya collapsed during recess at Roosevelt Elementary. Her teacher, Mrs. Patterson, said Maya had been complaining of headaches for weeks, but I'd attributed them to the stress of a new school year, maybe too much screen time. The guilt sits heavy in my chest like a stone I can't swallow. I'm a graphic designer, freelancing from our tiny home office while juggling single motherhood. Maya's father, Carlos, left when she was 2, deciding fatherhood wasn't the adventure he'd signed up for. He sends birthday cards sporadically and child support when he remembers, but he's essentially a ghost in our lives. It's been just Maya and me against the world, and I thought we were doing okay. We have our routines: Saturday morning pancakes shaped like animals, evening walks to the corner market where Mr. Kim always slips Maya an extra piece of candy, bedtime stories that turn into elaborate adventures featuring Princess Maya and her trusty guinea pig sidekick. But now, watching her tiny chest rise and fall with the help of a ventilator, I realize how fragile our little world really was. The neurosurgeon, Dr. Martinez, had been cautiously optimistic after the 8-hour surgery. We removed approximately 90% of the tumor, she'd explained, her voice professional but kind. The next 72 hours will be critical. We need to monitor for swelling and watch her neurological responses as she wakes up. That was 18 hours ago. Maya hasn't woken up yet. I've been living in this pediatric ICU waiting room, surviving on vending machine coffee and the occasional sandwich that well-meaning nurses press into my hands. The other families here have become familiar faces. There's Tom, whose 4-year-old son is recovering from heart surgery, and Angela, whose teenage daughter was in a car accident. We nod at each other, understanding without words that we're all members of a club nobody wants to join. My phone buzzes constantly with messages from friends and coworkers offering support, but there's one number I haven't seen: my mother's. Victoria Rodriguez Hamilton lives in her sprawling suburban mansion in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, just 40 minutes away, but she might as well be on another planet. Our relationship has been complicated for years, a delicate dance of obligation and disappointment that I've been too exhausted to navigate properly. Growing up, I was the disappointment. My older brother, David, was the golden child, valedictorian, full scholarship to Princeton, now a successful cardiologist married to another doctor with 2 perfect children in their perfect house in Westchester. I was the artistic one, the dreamer who chose a state school and a creative career that my mother viewed as unstable. When I got pregnant with Maya at 24, unmarried and with a boyfriend who would soon disappear, my mother's disappointment crystallized into something harder and colder. "You're ruining your life, Elena," she'd said when I told her about the pregnancy. "You could still fix this. You could still have a real future." But Maya wasn't a mistake to fix. She was the best thing that ever happened to me, even if her father couldn't see it. Even if my mother couldn't see it. My mother remarried when I was in college. Robert Hamilton, a successful investment banker who treated David and me politely but distantly, like acquaintances rather than stepchildren. They live in his world now, attending charity galas and country club events, maintaining the kind of social calendar that leaves little room for a struggling single mother and her daughter. Maya adores her grandmother despite the complicated relationship between us. During our monthly visits, my mother transforms into the picture of a doting abuela, showering Maya with expensive gifts and attention. But there's always an undercurrent of judgment, subtle comments about Maya's behavior, my parenting choices, our modest lifestyle. "She needs more structure," my mother will say, or "you really should consider a better school district." After Maya's father left, my mother's solution was simple. "You could move back home. Robert has connections. You could get a real job." As if my freelance career wasn't real, as if the life I'd built for Maya and me wasn't valid. I stopped taking her calls as frequently. Our visits became more sporadic. Maya would ask why we didn't see Abuela more often, and I'd make excuses about busy schedules, never wanting to burden her with the weight of adult complications. Now, as I sit in this hospital chair that's become my world, I realize I haven't even called my mother about Maya's surgery. Part of me is afraid of her reaction. Will she blame me somehow? Will she see this as proof that I can't handle being a single mother? But mostly, I'm afraid she won't come. I'm afraid that when I need her most, she'll have some excuse, some more important obligation. On the second day, as Maya's condition remains unchanged, I finally dial her number. "Elena?" Her voice sounds surprised. "I wasn't expecting to hear from you." "Mom," I begin, and then the words stick in my throat. "How do you summarize your worst nightmare in a phone call?" "What's wrong?" she asks, and I can hear the immediate tension. "It's Maya. She's in the hospital. She had brain surgery yesterday to remove a tumor." The silence stretches so long I wonder if the call dropped. Then, "A tumor? What do you mean a tumor?" I explain everything, the headaches, the collapse at school, the emergency surgery, the uncertain prognosis. My voice stays remarkably steady, probably because I've had to tell this story so many times to doctors and nurses and concerned friends. "Why didn't you call me sooner?" she asks, and there's something in her voice I can't quite identify. Hurt? Anger? I don't know, I admit. Everything happened so fast, and I'm her grandmother, Elena. I had a right to know. "You're right. I'm sorry. I'm not thinking clearly." Another pause. "How bad is it?" "They don't know yet. She hasn't woken up from surgery. The next day or two will determine a lot of things." "What hospital?" "Children's Hospital of Philadelphia." "I'll be there in an hour." She hangs up before I can respond, and I'm left staring at my phone, unsure whether to feel relieved or anxious about her impending arrival. True to her word, my mother arrives exactly an hour later, clicking across the hospital floor in heels that seem impractical for a medical emergency. She's dressed impeccably as always, tailored blazer, perfectly applied makeup, not a hair out of place. Even in crisis, Victoria Rodriguez Hamilton maintains her armor of perfection. She stops short when she sees me, and I'm suddenly aware of how I must look 3 days in the same clothes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, no makeup to hide the dark circles under my eyes. "Elena." She opens her arms, and for a moment, I'm 8 years old again, running to my mother for comfort. The hug is brief but real, and when she pulls back, her eyes are worried. Show me to her. Maya looks even smaller with my mother standing beside her bed. The machines seem louder, more intrusive. My mother's hand hovers over Maya's forehead, not quite touching, as if she's afraid she might break something. She's so little, my mother whispers, and her voice cracks slightly. She's tough, I say automatically, the mantra I've been repeating to myself for days. What do the doctors say? I repeat Dr. Martinez's cautious optimism, the statistics about recovery rates, the long list of unknowns that lie ahead. My mother listens intently, asking detailed questions that I sometimes can't answer. She's always been good in crisis situations when they don't involve emotions, organized, logical, taking charge. Have you been sleeping? She asks suddenly. Some. In the chair. Eating? When I remember. She makes a disapproving sound. You can't take care of her if you don't take care of yourself. It's such a mom thing to say that I almost smile. Almost. Over the next day, my mother settles into an unexpected routine. She brings me real food from the hospital cafeteria. Not great, but better than vending machine meals. She sits with Maya while I take breaks to shower in the family bathroom down the hall. She charming the nurses and asks informed questions about Maya's care that I hadn't thought to ask. But there's tension underneath the surface, things unsaid hovering between us like storm clouds. On Maya's 4th day in the ICU, Dr. Martinez delivers news that shifts everything. Maya's latest brain scans show good news, minimal swelling, no signs of complications from surgery. But there's more. The pathology results confirm what we suspected, Dr. Martinez explains gently. This is an aggressive tumor type. Surgery was just the first step. Maya will need intensive chemotherapy and radiation, possibly for 18 months or more. My mother's hand finds mine and squeezes as the doctor continues. The treatment protocol, the side effects, the need for frequent hospital stays, the uncertainty about long-term outcomes, it's overwhelming information delivered with professional compassion. After Dr. Martinez leaves, my mother and I sit in silence for a long moment. How are you going to manage this? She asks finally. I don't know. Day by day, I guess. Elena, be realistic. 18 months of treatment? You can't freelance and be Maya's primary caregiver through something like this. You'll need help. I know she's right, but the thought of being dependent on anyone makes my stomach clench. I'll figure it out. Come home, she says quietly. Both of you. Move back to Cherry Hill. Robert's insurance is excellent, better than whatever you have through the freelancer marketplace. You won't have to worry about work or bills or any of the practical things. You can focus on Maya. It's a generous offer, the kind of lifeline that most people in my situation would grab without hesitation. But I know my mother, and I know there will be strings attached, expectations and judgments, and gradual erosion of the independence I've fought so hard to build. I need to think about it, I say. Her mouth tightens slightly. What's to think about? Your daughter is facing the fight of her life. This isn't the time for pride, Elena. Before I can respond, Maya's hand moves slightly. We both notice it immediately, leaning forward as her eyes flutter open for the first time since surgery. Mama? Her voice is barely a whisper around the breathing tube, but it's the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. I'm here, baby. I'm right here. Her eyes find mine, unfocused but aware. Then she sees my mother and tries to smile. Abuela. Sí, mi nieta. I'm here too. Dr. Martinez arrives quickly to assess Maya's awakening. Over the next few hours, Maya becomes more alert, responding to commands, recognizing faces. The breathing tube comes out, replaced by an oxygen mask. Her voice is hoarse, but strong when she asks for water, for mochi, for her favorite stuffed elephant. It's a miracle that I hadn't dared to hope for fully. Maya is going to recover from surgery. She's going to fight this cancer. We're going to face whatever comes next together. But as the immediate crisis passes, the practical realities loom larger. My mother stays for Maya's entire week-long hospital stay, and I watch her transform into the grandmother Maya remembers, warm, attentive, generous with her time and energy. She reads stories, helps Maya video call with Machi, held up by our neighbor Mrs. Chin, and even learns to play some ridiculous tablet game that Maya loves. When it's time for discharge, Maya's excitement about going home is dampened by the reality of what home will look like now. Daily medications, weekly clinic visits, preparing for the start of chemotherapy in 2 weeks. The normalcy we'd built is gone, replaced by a new routine centered around fighting for Maya's life. The offer stands, my mother says as we pack Maya's things. You don't have to do this alone. Maya perks up from her wheelchair. What offer? Abuela thinks we should move to her house for a while, I explain carefully. While you're getting better. Maya's face lights up. Really? We could live with Abuela and Abuelo Robert. My mother smiles at the enthusiasm. You could have the blue bedroom upstairs. The one with the window seat where you like to read. And I could see Abuela every day? Every single day. I watch this exchange with growing dread. Maya's excitement is genuine and infectious, but I can already see how this will play out. My mother will gradually take over more and more decisions about Maya's care, her schooling, her daily routine. I'll become the teenage daughter again, making decisions that my mother disapproves of, having my parenting questioned at every turn. But looking at Maya's hopeful face, how can I prioritize my own fears over her happiness? We'll try it, I hear myself saying. Temporarily. Just until you're feeling stronger. Maya claps her hands carefully, mindful of her foreport, and my mother smiles with satisfaction. Moving back to my childhood home is surreal. My old bedroom has been converted into a guest room, but Maya's temporary room is everything an 8-year-old could want, spacious, beautifully decorated, with a view of the garden where she can watch rabbits play in the early morning. For the first few weeks, the arrangement works better than I expected. My mother handles insurance calls and appointment scheduling with the efficiency I remember from my childhood. Robert, surprisingly, is gentle and patient with Maya, teaching her chess and letting her help in his workshop where he builds model trains. The first round of chemotherapy is brutal. Maya loses her beautiful curls within 2 weeks, but she faces it with a courage that astounds me. It's just hair, Mama, she says when I cry seeing her bald head for the first time. It'll grow back when I'm all better. My mother buys a dozen colorful scarves and teaches Maya to tie them in different styles. They go wig shopping together, trying on everything from practical styles to wild colors that make Maya giggle. Watching them together, I feel a gratitude that almost outweighs my anxiety about living under my mother's roof again. But gradually, the old patterns reassert themselves. My mother starts making comments about Maya's bedtime. 8:30 is too late for a child going through treatment. My dietary choices. She needs more protein, Elena. Cancer patients can't survive on whatever random meals you put together, and my approach to discipline, you let her get away with too much. Structure is important, especially now. The criticism is subtle, delivered with concern rather than anger, but it accumulates like snow, soft at first, then heavy enough to bury you. The breaking point comes 3 months into our stay. Maya has been responding well to treatment, her tumors shrinking according to the latest scans. She's regained some energy and has been asking to see friends from her old school. I arrange a playdate with her best friend, Sophia, planning to drive back to our old neighborhood for the afternoon. I'm packing snacks for the girls when my mother appears in the kitchen. Where are you going with Maya? To see Sophia. I told you about this yesterday. Elena, I don't think that's wise. Maya's immune system is compromised, exposing her to other children right now. I talked to Dr. Martinez. She said social interaction is important for Maya's mental health as long as we're careful. But driving all the way to Philadelphia? What if something happens? What if Maya gets tired or feels sick? Then we'll come home early. My mother's mouth tightens in the expression I know well. I think you're being irresponsible. Maya's health has to come first. Her health is coming first. But she's still a kid, Mom. She needs to be a kid sometimes. She has cancer, Elena. She's not a normal kid right now. The words hit me like a slap. Don't you dare tell me my daughter isn't normal. That's not what I meant. Yes, it is. You think I don't know how to take care of her. You think I'm going to somehow damage her by letting her have a play date. I think you're not thinking clearly about the risks. And I think you're using Maya's illness as an excuse to control everything I do. The kitchen falls silent. Upstairs, I can hear Maya's voice as she talks to Machi, probably getting him ready for our trip. Normal 8-year-old sounds in a house that suddenly feels suffocating. My mother's voice is ice cold when she speaks again. I have given up my entire life for the past 3 months to help you through this crisis. Robert and I have covered Maya's medical expenses that your insurance didn't handle. We've opened our home, rearranged our schedules, put our own lives on hold. And this is the gratitude I get. I never asked you to put your life on hold. You didn't have to ask. That's what family does. But clearly, you don't understand that. What I understand is that gratitude doesn't mean giving up my right to make decisions about my own daughter. Your decisions have been questionable from the beginning, Elena. Getting pregnant by that worthless man who abandoned you both. Refusing to consider marriage with someone stable when you had the chance. Insisting on freelancing instead of finding steady work with benefits. Living in that tiny house in a questionable neighborhood. And now, when Maya is facing the most serious health crisis of her life, you want to prioritize playdates over safety. Each word is carefully chosen to wound, delivered with the precision of someone who's had years to catalog my failures. I stand there, 32 years old, feeling like I'm 16 again and being lectured about my life choices. Maya and I are leaving, I say quietly. Don't be ridiculous. You can't afford Maya's treatment on your own. We'll manage. How? Your freelance income barely covers rent and groceries in normal circumstances. You'll need to be at the hospital constantly for the next year. How are you going to work? How are you going to pay for medications? For follow-up care? She's right about the practical realities, and we both know it. Maya's treatment will cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even with insurance, the copays and deductibles and uncovered expenses will bankrupt me. Living here, with my mother's excellent insurance and financial support, is the logical choice. But logic doesn't account for the cost of losing yourself. I'll figure it out. I repeat. Elena, be reasonable. I'm sorry if you felt criticized. I'm just worried about Maya. We both want what's best for her. No, we don't. You want what you think is best for her. There's a difference. I turn to leave the kitchen, but her voice stops me. If you walk out of this house with Maya, don't expect to come back. I won't enable your poor decisions anymore. And I won't watch my granddaughter suffer because her mother is too proud to accept help. The ultimatum hangs in the air between us, as final as a door slamming shut. Upstairs, Maya is sitting on her bed with Machi's travel carrier in her lap, wearing the bright blue scarf my mother bought her. She looks up hopefully when I enter. Are we ready to go see Sophia, Mama? I sit beside her on the bed, my heart breaking at the choice I'm about to make. Maya, what would you think about going back to our old house? Just you and me and Machi. Her face falls slightly, but I like it here with Abuela. And the doctors are close by. We can still see all the same doctors. And you can still visit Abuela. But not live here? Not live here. She's quiet for a long moment, processing with that serious expression she gets when she's thinking hard about something important. Did you and Abuela have a fight? Kids always know more than we think they do. We had a disagreement about some grown-up things. About me. About what's best for you. And sometimes people who love you can disagree about that. Maya nods solemnly. Will you be sad if we don't live with Abuela anymore? It's such a Maya question, worrying about my feelings even when she's the one being uprooted again. I'll be sad about some things, I admit. But I'll be happy about others. I like it when it's just us sometimes. Don't you? Yeah. I like our Saturday pancakes. And how you let me stay up late to watch movies sometimes. Abuela doesn't like late movies, does she? Maya giggles. She says 8:30 is the appropriate bedtime for growing children. She imitates my mother's formal tone perfectly. What do you think? Should we go home? She considers this carefully, then nods. Can we still come visit Abuela sometimes? Of course, baby. She's your grandmother. She'll always be your grandmother. Okay, but can we still go see Sophia today? Absolutely. Packing takes less than an hour. We never really unpacked completely, some part of me always knowing this was temporary. My mother doesn't appear as we load the car, but I can see her watching from her bedroom window. Maya waves at the window as we pull out of the driveway. Bye, Abuela. See you soon. There's no wave back. The drive to our old neighborhood feels like traveling back in time. Our narrow street with its row houses and tiny front gardens, the corner market where Mr. Kim brightens when he sees Maya, the familiar rhythms of a place that knows us. Our house has been maintained by Mrs. Chen, our neighbor, but it feels strange after 3 months away. Smaller, shabbier, but undeniably ours. Maya runs through the rooms like she's rediscovering a favorite toy, and Machi explores his expanded territory with guinea pig enthusiasm. That evening, as Maya sleeps in her own bed for the first time in months, I sit at my kitchen table with a calculator, a stack of medical bills, and my laptop. The numbers are sobering. Even with insurance, Maya's ongoing treatment will cost more than I make in a year. I'll need to find a way to work around her treatment schedule, apply for financial assistance programs, maybe take on debt that will follow us for years. But looking around our tiny house, Maya's artwork on the refrigerator, her books scattered across the living room floor, the cozy chaos of our real life, I know I made the right choice. The next months are the hardest of my life. Maya continues chemotherapy while I juggle freelance projects around her treatment schedule. When she's too sick to get out of bed, I work from her bedside. When she feels good, we celebrate with small adventures, trips to the park, ice cream for dinner, movie marathons that stretch past appropriate bedtimes. Financial assistance programs help with some costs. Friends organize fundraisers. James's parents, Maya's paternal grandparents who live in California, send money when they can. We survive day by day, choosing happiness over security, choosing independence over comfort. My mother calls occasionally brief, formal conversations that focus on Maya's medical updates. She sends birthday presents and get-well cards, but doesn't visit. The distance between us feels as vast as ever, maybe wider now. 6 months after leaving my mother's house, Dr. Martinez delivers the news we've been hoping for. Maya's latest scans show no evidence of active cancer. We'll continue monitoring, but the immediate battle is won. That night, Maya and I sit on our front steps sharing a pint of chocolate ice cream, her favorite flavor, which she couldn't tolerate during the worst parts of treatment. "Mama, are we poor?" she asks suddenly. It's a question that would have sent me into a spiral of anxiety a year ago. Now, I consider it honestly. "We don't have as much money as some people," I say. "But we have everything we need." "Like what?" "We have each other. We have Machi. We have this house, and your health and friends who love us. And Saturday pancakes. And Saturday pancakes. And late movie nights. When you don't have treatment the next day." She grins. "I like our life, Mama. Even without the big house and the fancy things?" "Those things were nice," she says thoughtfully. "But they weren't ours, you know? This is ours." She's 8 years old and wiser than I was at 30. A year later, Maya is thriving. Her hair has grown back darker and clear than before. She's back in school full-time, though she still has monthly checkups that will continue for years. I've built my freelance business into something more sustainable, focusing on medical illustration, a skill that developed naturally from learning to understand Maya's treatment. My mother and I still haven't fully reconciled. We text occasionally, share updates about Maya's progress, maintain the polite distance of people who love each other, but can't quite figure out how to be in the same room without friction. But Maya has started asking more frequently about visiting her grandmother. She misses the garden, the chess games with Robert, the feeling of being spoiled that only grandparents can provide. On Maya's 9th birthday, I make a decision. I call my mother. "Hi, Mom. Elena." Her voice is surprised but not unwelcoming. "How are you?" "How's Maya?" "We're good." "Great, actually. Maya's been in remission for 8 months now." "That's wonderful news." "She wants to see you. She's been asking about visiting." A pause. "She's welcome here anytime." "What about me?" A longer pause. "You're welcome too." Even though I made poor decisions? Even though I was too proud to accept help? "Elena." She sighs. "I was scared. When Maya was so sick, I was terrified we were going to lose her, and I handled that fear badly. I tried to control everything because I couldn't control the cancer." It's the closest to an apology I've ever heard from my mother. "I was scared too," I admit. "I was scared that if I stayed, I'd lose myself again. That Maya would grow up thinking she owed other people her choices because they helped us when we needed it." "Is that what you think I did to you?" "Sometimes." "Yeah." We're both quiet for a moment. "I want Maya to know her grandmother," I continue. "And I want her to learn that she can accept help from people who love her without giving up her right to make her own decisions." "That sounds reasonable. Can we try again? Differently this time?" "I'd like that." Maya's reaction to the news that we're going to visit Abuela is pure joy. She spends the week before our visit making art projects to show off, practicing the chess moves Robert taught her, and planning elaborate tea parties for her and my mother. The visit goes better than I expected. My mother has clearly made an effort. She asks about my work, compliments the way I've handled Maya's treatment, and only offers unsolicited advice twice, both times catching herself and apologizing. Maya basks in grandmother attention while I rediscover what I liked about my mother before our relationship became so complicated. She's intelligent, funny when she lets her guard down, and genuinely devoted to Maya's well-being. We won't ever have the uncomplicated relationship I sometimes wish for. There will always be tension between her need to help and my need for independence. But we're both willing to try, for Maya's sake and maybe for our own. As we're leaving that first visit, my mother hugs me goodbye, really hugs me, not the polite embrace we've exchanged for years. "I'm proud of you," she says quietly. I should have said that sooner. You saved Maya's life by fighting for what she needed, even when it was hard. We all saved her life, Mom. In different ways. In the car on the way home, Maya chatters about her day, already planning our next visit. But then she gets serious, the way she does when she's processing something important. "Mama, I'm glad we went back to our house when I was sick." "Yeah? Why?" "Because now when Abuela is nice to me, I know it's because she wants to be, not because she has to be." I glance at her in the rearview mirror, once again amazed by her wisdom. "That's a very smart observation, Maya. I learned it from you. You taught me that people should choose to love you, not have to love you." As we drive through the familiar streets toward our small house and our imperfect but authentic life, I realize that Maya is right. The hardest choice I ever made, walking away from security to preserve our independence, taught both of us something invaluable about the difference between obligation and love, between accepting help and surrendering control. Maya survived cancer. We survived financial hardship. Our family survived fracture and found a way to heal differently than before. Not everything turned out the way I planned, but in the ways that matter most, we turned out exactly as we were meant to be. Our story continues, day by day, choice by choice, in the small house where Maya's laughter still echoes off the walls and Saturday mornings still mean pancakes shaped like animals and love that asks for nothing more than the chance to keep growing.